matter how much Democrats might wish it, it isn't turning out to be true. More than a year after it obtained the first installment of the infamous Trump dossier aimed at smearing the reputation of President Donald Trump, FBI investigators have been unable to back up allegations of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russian intelligence services. There might be some face-saving lines for Democrats, but that's essentially what the FBI and Justice Department investigators have told congressional investigators, according to a piece published this week by the Washington Examiner's chief political correspondent Byron York. And it's a piece that only confirms what Trump supporters already knew, namely, that any collusion between the Russian government and the Trump campaign to deprive Democrat nominee Hillary Clinton of a presidency she could have won is simply a figment of liberal imaginations. In the piece, York pointed out that the FBI has had at least elements of the dossier since July 2016. Yet in the time since, the Bureau has been unable to substantiate the document's allegations. Trending, Trump issues immediate statement after Border Patrol agent is killed, since the dossier's existence was publicly revealed in January when it was published in its entirety, with no editorial vetting, by the website BuzzFeed. It has fed the seemingly unending charges of Trump-Russia collusion, and might have played a large role in the appointment of special counsel Robert Mueller, whose investigation continues to this day. That makes the FBI's inability to verify any of its charges extraordinarily important. It also shows just how empty Democrat accusations against the Trump White House really are. And how little the dossier, compiled by former British intelligence officer Christopher Steele paid for, as we now know, by the Clinton campaign and the Democrat National, actually helps them. A lot of it has turned out to be true, Representative Adam Schiff, the ranking Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, told the Wall Street Journal last week. The headline alone is telling. Representative Schiff rejects efforts to dismiss dossier on Trump. In the broadest outline of what Steele investigated, he proved more than prescient, he proved accurate in terms of the Russian involvement and what their motivations were. That might have been what Democrats wanted to hear, but as York points out, that actually is just another way of saying the dossier proves nothing. Even if various investigations so far have shown that the Russians wanted in the broadest outline to have an impact on the American presidential election, that says absolutely nothing about the specific charge that the Trump campaign was colluding with a rival foreign power to steal the presidency. And as to the specific charges contained in the document, that Trump himself engaged in the kind of behavior with Russian prostitutes that would make him a ripe target for blackmail, for instance, or that his aides reached deals with Russian business or political operatives for mutual benefit, the FBI's inability to find verification is an indication of just how divorced from reality they are. Related, UN releases video of soldiers' escape, NK Guard almost sparked WW3, and one very specific charge, that Trump aide Michael Cohen had traveled to Prague in August 2016 to meet with a Russian official has been disproved entirely. In August, York reports, the House Intelligence Committee subpoenaed the FBI for any documents, if they exist, that memorialize DOJ and or FBI efforts to corroborate, validate, or evaluate information provided by Mr. Steele and or sub-sources and or contained in the Trump dossier. York, citing sources, reports that the FBI and Justice Department have failed to provide the documents, which means there's no way of knowing whether they would clear Trump or implicate him. But more tellingly, York writes, in face-to-face briefings with congressional staff, according to those sources, FBI and DOJ officials have said they cannot verify the dossier's charges of a conspiracy between the Russian government and the Trump campaign. Now, Democrats like Schiff and the assorted crowd at MSNBC, CNN, The New York Times and any number of liberal websites might be clinging to the hope that something, anything, will come out of the Trump dossier that will prove their fantasy that the 2016 was anything but a shattering loss for Hillary Clinton and her morally bankrupt party. The news that the FBI and the Justice Department have been unable to prove anything substantive out of the disgusting document known as the Trump dossier leave them with an argument that boils down to, it must be true because Trump can't prove it's not. That's not an argument for serious adults engaged in the business of running the world's most powerful country. It's an argument for conspiracy theorists under tinfoil hats dreaming about the Illuminati, the Knights Templar UFO abductions. But just like the most elaborate historical revisionist theories of all time, and the Illuminati, and little green kidnappers from another galaxy, the fact that there is no proof is the best argument of all that something doesn't exist. And with the Trump collusion story, no matter how much Democrats might wish it, it isn't turning out to be true. What do you think? Scroll down to comment below.